After one of the wettest springs on record, summer is here. And while that means fun times in the mountains, it can also mean the possibility of severe weather like hail and thunderstorms, as well as extreme heat. Are you weather ready? Hello, and welcome to our First Alert Summer Weather Special. I'm First Alert meteorologist Ashton Altieri. While our weather team talks a lot about severe weather, there's another big health concern we face this time of year: poor air quality. In addition to cars and factories, wildfires are increasingly contributing to unhealthy air. So as we embark on wildfire season, what can we do to stay healthy? Meteorologist Callie Zanandri breaks down simple steps you can take to breathe easy this summer.
Wildfires often cause short-term spikes in poor air quality as the smoke, which contains dangerous contaminants, enters the atmosphere. Even if the fires are burning hundreds of miles away, Coloradans can still pay a heavy price with their lungs.
When you're dealing with things like wildfire smoke and you get high levels of fine particulates in the atmosphere, that can really cause problems for your respiratory system.
Scott Landis, the lead air quality meteorologist at the Colorado Department of Public Health and Environment, says the tiny particles in the air measure roughly 4% of the width of a strand of hair, small enough to be inhaled deep into the lungs and can enter the bloodstream, causing serious health problems.
We get especially concerned for those that are dealing with respiratory diseases, those folks who have asthma. And then the older you are or the youngest children, they're going to have a more difficult time.
Even people who don't have asthma or an underlying respiratory issue suffer from poor air quality, even when a wildfire is far away or the smoke is relatively less severe.
Especially if you're at one of those highest at-risk categories, wearing an N95 mask is probably a good idea. If you do have the means to have a portable air cleaner, what we do ask you to do is kind of devote one room in your house to be your clean air room. So you have that as your designated as your clean air room. And when the air quality is at its worst, you spend a bit more time in there.
But it's not just smoke you have to worry about. Both children and adults can also be affected by ozone, the result of a chemical reaction that happens when the sun and heat interact with air pollution, like car exhaust. Ozone is the reason it tends to be hazy on hot, sunny summer days, and it can have just as much of an impact on air quality as wildfire smoke. Air quality gets especially bad when both are present.
Ozone typically is going to form during the hottest part of the day. During the height of ozone season, if you want to exercise outdoors, do it during the morning. That's probably the best time to do it when ozone's going to be a bit lower. It's a little trickier when we talk about fine particles because they're not really dependent on the time of day. We can have high levels of fine particulates at any point during the day. So it's one of those things that you have to monitor when those levels go down. That's your better time to be outside.
The easiest way to stay safe on days with poor air quality is to stay indoors, limit your time outside, and avoid strenuous physical activity. If you have to be outside, try to stick to early mornings and around sunset when ozone levels are lower and air quality is better. And Landis suggests checking air quality alerts regularly.
We took a deep dive into the pollution numbers from last month when smoke from wildfires in Canada blanketed much of Colorado. EPA air quality monitors across the state recorded the highest amount of fine particulate matter pollution that we've seen so far this year. The EPA's daily standard for healthy air is 35 micrograms per cubic meter. In mid-May, a monitor in Longmont recorded 98.2. A monitor at National Jewish Health in Denver recorded 95.6. Plus, at Chatfield State Park, the monitor recorded 92.7, and a monitor in North Denver saw a level of 92.4. Dr. Tony Gerber is a pulmonologist with National Jewish Health.
We've definitely seen patients coming in who are noticing that their symptoms are worse.
Studies have shown that even a couple days more of exposure to small increases of fine particulate matter pollution lead to a higher chance of early mortality. While we love our Colorado sunshine, it also means Coloradans have a higher risk of skin cancer than people who live in most other states. The CU Cancer Center recommends avoiding sun exposure between 10 a.m. and 4 p.m. when the sun's rays are the strongest. Wear sunscreen with SPF of at least 30, even on cloudy days, and wear a wide brim hat to protect your face, ears, and neck. Heat waves are happening around the world, and due to climate change, they're getting hotter and longer. While basking in the sunshine is a wonderful thing, extreme heat can be deadly. First Alert Chief Meteorologist Lauren Whitney teaches us what you need to know to stay cool this summer in this First Alert weather lesson.
Heat-related illnesses like heat exhaustion or heat stroke happen when the body is not able to properly cool itself. While the body normally cools itself by sweating, during extreme heat, this might not be enough. In these cases, a person's body temperature rises faster than it can cool itself down. This can cause damage to the brain and other vital organs. Generally, older adults, the very young, people with mental illness and chronic diseases, and people living without air conditioning are at the highest risk for heat-related illnesses. However, the heat can also affect young and healthy people if they're participating in strenuous physical activity during that hot weather. Now, here are some tips for staying safe in the heat. On job sites, when working outdoors, make sure to stay hydrated and take breaks in the shade as often as possible. And remember to look before you lock. Never leave pets or children unattended in the car. And of course, avoid strenuous exercise outdoors if possible. Wear lightweight colored and light colored clothing and loose-fitting clothing, and find shade to take breaks in as well. And remember to drink water and stay hydrated. You don't want to wait until you are thirsty. And of course, avoid sugary drinks or alcohol as they cause the loss of body fluid. And you can visit your friends who are at greater risk at least twice daily. Watch out for them closely during signs of heat exhaustion or heat stroke. You want to make sure that they have some fans if possible, if they don't have air conditioning, and you want to run those fans to circulate that air. You can also go to an air-conditioned area such as a shopping mall or possibly the library. Even a few hours in an air-conditioned environment can help keep the body cool. And we can't forget about our four-legged friends. Remember, if it feels too hot for you, it's too hot for them. The 7-second test is a simple test for checking whether if the pavement is too hot for your pet's paws. Simply touch the pavement with the back of your hand for 7 seconds. And if you can't hold out for the full 7 seconds, that's because the surface is too hot. And that means it's also too hot for your doggy's paws. If the air outside is pleasantly warm, you may want to rethink or think that there's a possibility or no risk for your dog's paws, but the ground can get much hotter than the surrounding area and the ground absorbs the heat faster. If the air temperature is at 95 degrees, paws can burn. They can occur in 5 minutes on concrete and in 1 minute on asphalt. So remember to provide plenty of fresh water so they don't get dehydrated, and don't over-exercise your pets either, and never leave them alone in a parked car. And of course, watch for symptoms of overheating, which could include excessive panting, difficulty breathing, and increased heart and respiratory rate and drooling. Animals with flat faces like pugs, well, they can't pant as well, and they're more at risk for heat stroke. These pets, as well as older pets and overweight pets, should be kept inside as much as possible.
While our wet spring has eliminated drought along the Front Range, a diminished water supply is something we'll be dealing with for years and decades to come. But a new community is planning for the future by creating a recycled water supply. Your Arapahoe County reporter Katie Weiss shows us how it works.
This is Sky Ranch, a new master plan development in Arapahoe County. Tucked inside sits a unique water recycling facility that even the neighborhood's own residents haven't heard about.
This is a preliminary treatment works or headworks, and it's where we basically condition the raw water, the raw sewage.
Sky Ranch engineers tell me it's one of only a few communities in the nation right now to recycle 100% of its wastewater.
This is the activated sludge portion of it.
The neighborhood's sewage is cleaned using microscopic bugs to eat away contaminants, followed by a chlorine disinfectant.
We probably have a density of 1 million or more bugs per milliliter of water in this.
The recycled water is only used to irrigate the neighborhood's open spaces and agriculture. Would you drink it? Is it that clean?
I would. If it was the only source of drinking water, I would not have a qualm about it.
The neighborhood is also installing turf lawns and other water conservation tools in many of its homes.
Approximately 6,000 wells across the county.
Arapahoe County leaders are looking at Sky Ranch right now as a potential model for the future as they grapple with potential population growth of another 300,000 residents by 2050. County leaders are paying a group of researchers nearly $500,000 with the help of state and federal grants to find out if Arapahoe will have enough water for all those people.
I believe there's always going to be enough water. The issue is how much of a cost it's going to be at.
Will Koger is one of the leaders of that research team that will use computer mapping tools to find where more water is hiding underground.
The water that was easy to develop has already been developed, and so the water that we're now looking at is maybe at a higher increment of cost, but it is there.
Now, that study could inform future policy changes in the county. And while the results of the study won't be available until next year, I'm told there will be several community meetings to inform residents about some of the findings along the way of the study and get public input on any potential policy changes. For information on how to attend those meetings, just find the story right now on our website, cbscolorado.com. I'm Katie Weiss, covering Colorado First.
Speaking of water supply, the Army Corps of Engineers and the Colorado Water Conservation Board are looking into increasing water storage at Bear Creek Reservoir in Jefferson County. The higher water levels would mean sacrificing some of the park acreage and trails.
The core of the park, really the heart and lungs of the park, could be inundated with stored water.
A group named Save Bear Creek Lake Park is pushing for lower impact alternatives, like a scaled down expansion or off-site water storage reservoirs. A feasibility study and public hearings are expected to go on for a long time. We're entering monsoon season. Dave Aguilera explains what's behind the series of afternoon storms, plus why we have to keep an eye on our burn scars during rainy weather. The North American monsoon season officially started June 15th. It generally begins in the southwestern United States and, if strong enough, can reach into Colorado and even into Wyoming, generally from July into late August. First Alert meteorologist Dave Aguilera teaches us how monsoons form in this First Alert weather lesson.
One of the biggest drivers for summer thunderstorms is the North American monsoon, which typically runs mid-July through the end of August for Colorado. In places like Arizona, Southern California, it starts up about mid-June. But here's what happens. We tend to get a strong high over the Southern Rockies, the Southern Great Plains here. Typically, it sets up around Texas here early in June, and what that could do is drive Gulf moisture from the Gulf of Mexico right into Arizona, where the thunderstorms start, and also pick up a little Pacific moisture. Once we get to about early July, mid-July, the high will push in over eastern sections of Texas, Oklahoma here, and that opens the door for that moisture to flow right into Colorado, typically in the middle of the summer. We call that a burst when the moisture comes through, and that's a driver for afternoon thunderstorms on the daily, and some of those storms could be severe. Some of them towards the end of the summer could produce strong hailstorms. Now, from time to time, this high will retrograde back into Texas, and that will cut off the moisture and push it back into Arizona and Utah here. We call that a break, and when that happens, we could have several days where we're just dry and sunny in the summertime, and then it will push back and open the door once again for more moisture all the way through the end of August, and sometimes in the early part of September. The North American monsoon could provide moisture. It is a good thing because that's where we get most of our water in the summer months. We need that water, but it does bring the thunderstorms along with it. The summer monsoon here in Colorado.
The effects of a wildfire last long after the flames are out, and burn scars can be especially vulnerable during rainy seasons. Your Northern Colorado reporter Dylan Thomas explains why the areas are so susceptible to mudslides.
So wildfires are becoming increasingly common. They're happening more frequently. They're happening places where they didn't happen before. They've been happening at higher elevations.
And while the flames and smoke may be what get the most attention, it's the burn scars left behind which ultimately last the longest.
You tend to have elevated risk of debris flow for usually the first, say, 3 years after a fire.
That's largely because after a wildfire, the vegetation that was on the landscape has been removed, meaning the soil property changes.
It becomes much easier for water to run off the surface.
Suddenly, the land can't absorb the water like it once could, as explained by Colorado State University's Peter Nelson.
When you have a rainstorm that prior to the fire might have led to a lot of infiltration, after the fire that produces a lot more surface runoff, which can then lead to increased flooding, and it can entrain sediment off the hill slope, leading to debris flows and landslides.
Especially after the 2020 wildfire season. Now, critical roadways and rivers and countless homes are continuously at the mercy of the land above them during storms.
Landslides can pose a hazard to infrastructure. Highways that are in the path of landslides can get shut down.
As for the rivers,
if they're in the right place, they can potentially create temporary dams, and then that could cause potentially some backwater effects that might flood areas.
These threats could last up to a decade. There aren't many easy ways to fix this problem, especially on such large scars. Some agencies have dropped mulch on some portions of the scars.
The idea there is that the mulch will provide kind of a layer of resistance between water that's falling onto the hill slope and the soil below.
Nelson says it will take several years for the threats to decline. Until then, rainstorms should always be monitored closely.
It's important to pay attention to the weather, especially this time of year, and sometimes that's all that it takes to cause a landslide.
Dylan Thomas, covering Colorado First.
Rising temperatures means rising energy bills, but so many families are already struggling to make ends meet right now. Up next, we have money-saving tips for staying cool on a budget. In Colorado, we don't use the nationwide criteria for heat advisories and warnings because it's based on the heat index, which measures a combination of heat and humidity and impacts on the human body. That criteria is geared toward hot and humid climates elsewhere around the country. First Alert meteorologist Callie Zanandri breaks down the heat risk we face here in Colorado.
How is heat risk tailored to our dry climate?
Heat risk has the advantage of not relying so heavily on relative humidity. So the way it works so well is that it really checks how hot is it relative to what it should be this time of year. And it really pings those high temperatures during the day. Further east, the overnight low temperatures, because it's so humid, the low doesn't drop very far, lots of heat impacts can occur there. Here in Colorado, we're dry, cools off at night, the impacts aren't as bad, but those daytime impacts can still be pretty severe on the really hot days.
What does heat risk do? What does it factor in?
It factors in high and low temperatures mainly and matches them up to what it would typically be for that time of year. So anytime the temperature's in the low to mid 90s, that would be a high risk or an orange level 3 heat risk. In the middle of summer, the high temperature would probably need to be close to about 98 degrees to reach that same level. Anything over 100 degrees, you're going to hit that level 3 pretty much, the higher risk.
Since heat risk was introduced, have we had more heat alerts?
We've had a lot more heat alerts, and I think that's a really good thing for preparedness. Prior to using heat risk, which we started last year in Northeast Colorado, we had issued 1 heat advisory ever. And that's based on the humidity levels and all that. And so not very useful for Colorado, but with heat risk, we issued 7 heat advisories just last summer.
How does the relatively new heat risk help Coloradans?
It's really for awareness and preparedness. Being ready for those days that are going to be super hot like that, and just knowing that you got to make sure there's shade nearby, make sure they have plenty of fluids nearby, a place to cool off, whatever it may be. Just being really sensitive and aware that heat stress and heat illness can happen and does happen in Colorado.
In the heat of the summer, it's tempting to have the air conditioning running all day, but that's not cheap or realistic for families just trying to make ends meet. Our own Michaela White shows us some more affordable ways to keep your home cool and your electricity bill down as it heats up.
First thing we look for in houses is we take a peek at the water heater.
Xcel Energy technician Luke Snyder is checking items off his list while conducting a home energy audit. He's part of a team that helps homeowners save money.
We'll do these home energy squad visits at no cost for our income qualified customers.
A squad Kelly Flanagan says can expertly help you identify how your home uses energy.
And then make some recommendations on how you could find some conservation methods. You can increase efficiencies. So they might notice things like where there's draft, if your windows, how those are working, all the way down to looking at your shower head and the amount of energy consumption that is having.
A 2-hour visit could be especially beneficial now as temperatures start to rise for the summer.
It's going to get warmer and people use a little bit more for their cooling needs. It could save a considerable amount of money for a residential customer.
All you have to do is reach out to Xcel and set up an appointment. Flanagan says it pays off, not just in your energy bill.
Kind of in celebration of thinking around climate and earth and all of these pieces. If we are all reducing our carbon footprint, that's good for everyone. But I encourage our customers to reach out because what you don't know may be costing you more money.
I'm Michaela White covering Colorado First.
We'll be right back. We hope you've learned a lot from this summer weather special. You can find all of our First Alert weather lessons online at cbscolorado.com. As always, one of the best ways to stay prepared as severe weather approaches is to know that it's on the way. It's important to have multiple ways to receive alerts in case you are without power or your device is dead. A free and easy option is the CBS News Colorado app. You'll receive all the important weather notifications right in the palm of your hand. The First Alert Weather Team wishes you a happy and safe summer, and thank you for joining us.